Friends, good morning. Good morning and welcome to worship here from the historic sanctuary of the Fountain Street Church in the heart of Grand Rapids, Michigan. My name is Nathan Dannison. I'm delighted to welcome you here today. If you're visiting with us or if you are visiting with us for the first time, even you are welcome here. Fountain Street is an interreligious, unaffiliated, unapologetically affirming church with a very long and fascinating history. And you can learn a little bit more about it because I saw that there are some zines that are still in the chair backs that were created by our communications committee. You could take those home with you or take it to the dentist's appointment and leave it in the lobby. Or I want to thank the communications committee. They have been doing some really tremendous work helping tell our story and get the word out. And I know that they are working overtime on developing a new website for the church and all of this work, and so they are deeply appreciated. I also want to thank a musician who you just heard. I want to thank Natalie Beverslice for joining us today in worship and bringing her violin. Natalie also is one of the hardest working folks in the hospitality team, helping get this place ready every single Sunday morning. As we receive folks here with us. And I had to ask, folks, it's a very special day. It is spring, it is Ostara, it is St. Patrick's Day, it is however you celebrate this time of the year. And so it felt very appropriate to have Natalie with us this morning. Today, following worship in honor and celebration of this day, we're going to have a fundraiser luncheon for St. Patrick's Day. It is an Irish lunch. I know that this has been put on by the Women's Association with lots of hands helping them. So please stick around after church today and get something to eat. And thank you, Women's Association, as well. That's fantastic. They do wonderful work, and that association is not just for women. To be clear, all are welcome to join the Fountain Street Church Women's Association, the oldest committee of this church. This afternoon at 4 p.m., we are set up to host another amazing performance here in the sanctuary. Fountain Street Church is partnering with the Bach Chorale of Grand Rapids to present Concertato Michigan. This is going to feature the pipe organ, a choir, the orchestra, and it will be a presentation of Bach's Fantasia in G and Francis Poulenc's Concerto for Organ. Poulenc, one of the great liberating queer composers of the 20th century. So come back here at 4 p.m. and join us for that performance as well. Next Sunday, following worship, Together West Michigan, one of our local community organizing partners, is giving another presentation about public money and how it is used here in the city of Grand Rapids and who controls it and who gets it and who doesn't. It's part of their series called Show Me the Public Money, which is a great name. That'll be next Sunday. It's in the chapel, but they're going to serve lunch, so they're asking folks to register ahead of time. Together West Michigan will have a registration table set up in the fellowship hall in the welcoming area. So sign up, and then next Sunday stick around after church for lunch. Again, this time to get some local organizing done. All of this goes into the weekly Chimes. The Chimes is the newsletter of Fountain Street Church. It's the best way to find out what's happening here on campus. And you can visit fountainstreet.org to sign up to receive the Chimes. Before we sing our first hymn this morning, I want us to take a moment and center ourselves and then share our light by sharing a word of peace. Receive this word and return it if you wish, and then I encourage you to share words of peace and welcome with one another. Friends, peace be with you. Let's share words of peace with each other. At this time, I want to invite any children here who are here this morning to come here and join me in this little area to carefully make your way through, and we can gather right here. You can sit if you want. We'll just come over here for a word of blessing, because this guy high five, Hank. It's good to see you. Thanks. Just join me over here. Come and make your way amongst all of these beautiful musical instruments. And carefully, a little bit further. Good, yes. Good morning. Good morning. I know, isn't this cool? I think it is. Maybe you don't like it. If you feel that we won't keep it this way, then I'll tell you what. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you know why there's a big stage up here this morning? Any ideas? We're having a big concert later on this afternoon. We're going to have lots of musicians in here, and some people are going to come and sing up there as a choir, and they need a stage to stand on so that everybody can hear them sing. And so we put this big stage up to make it sound more beautiful. Yes? Yes.
And I did see a sign up for that.
Uh-huh. We did get our new doors. They're actually our old doors, but they were looking a little bit they were kind of broken. It didn't work.
Some construction.
Yes, we did some construction. That does happen here.
Question.
They're laughing because the construction never ends. And so.
I know you're going to get to this soon, but what are we doing today?
I know. So I'm about to get to that. So this is really great. Those doors are really special. Did you know that those doors they just fixed are the biggest doors in Grand Rapids? Yeah, I know.
I think I've seen bigger.
Oh, man, I don't know about that. Not in Grand Rapids. Yes, I know. They got some big doors in Kalamazoo. But these, we need really big doors.
Not in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. We need to have the biggest doors in town so that we can have the biggest, openest, most welcoming church in town. So it was important when they built the church to put really big doors on it. That's a really good point. I think I might just leave it with that, because our blessing today is to be mindful of others' needs and be grateful for what we have.
I like the one, last week, I said something. This week I'm saying something.
I know, you're doing good. And then next week, you're going to be up there.
Say something every week?
Probably, yes. I could use a week off from the pulpit. So we'll have to build you an apple cart to get you up there, but we'll make it happen. Okay, let's do our blessing. And then you have a lot going on in character school, because I know it's Ostara, and I know that you're working through some gratitude practices too. So you can just repeat after me. Ready? Raise a hand and repeat after me if you want. This week, we will be mindful of others and grateful for what we have. Awesome. Why don't you carefully and slowly make your way through and follow the banner to character school and your adventure today.
John's gospel tells the stories of the prophet Jesus of Nazareth and his disciples in the days leading up to his trial and execution. These two stories are from the 9th and 12th chapters of the book of John.
As Jesus walked along, he noticed a man blind from birth.
The disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?"
Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his prophets sinned. He was born blind so that God's works may be revealed in him. We must work the words of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world.
When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes. He said to him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam." The man went and washed and came back able to see.
The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, "Is that not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some were saying, "It is he." Others were saying, "No, but it is someone like him."
The man kept saying, "I am he."
But they kept asking him, "Then how were your eyes opened?"
He answered, "The man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' Then I went and washed and received my sight."
Later, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, to the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those reclining with him.
Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume.
But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it.
Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial."
This morning, as we prepare our hearts for a word, I've asked Natalie to lead us in a time of meditation, silence, and reflection. Fountain Street Church, happy Sunday. We have become a place of sanctuary and hope, church. You have leaned into your mission, providing radical hospitality to this city, to the creators who live here, to the organizers, to people who need it. This has been the very hard work of your church staff who are here every day of the week, to the countless volunteers, and to the generous philanthropy that you have invested in this place to make this possible. The other day I was asked to give a blessing at a public event. It was an act of solidarity and protest, and I was just going to give a very brief word of blessing to the crowd, and I found myself sharing a podium with a few people who I had recognized as local organizers. One of them turned to me, and I'd never met this person before, and they said to me, "I have no interest in joining any church, first of all." I said, "Okay, don't worry." They said, "But I seem to have accidentally joined yours." They said, "I've been there a dozen times in the last month." And they said, "Thank you for being the place the city needs at the time it needs it most." This is radical hospitality. And it's what happens, I think, when Fountain Street Church lets its light shine. We know this from studying our history together. I have gone on and on and on about the importance of studying the history of fascism during the rise of fascism. We've been here before. Our ancestors are watching. And they did their best to keep good records and tell us what worked and what didn't work. And so I've been reading a great deal of Howard Thurman. There's nearly nothing that we're dealing with today that Reverend Thurman didn't address from his pulpit in San Francisco in the 1940s. Howard Thurman was a theologian and a Christian mystic and the founder of an interdenominational multi-faith church, the Church for the Fellowship of All People in San Francisco. And I know that this gets quoted a lot, but Thurman was not just pontificating when he preached, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive." That is a strategy. I've gotten to know you over the last almost 2 years, and I've watched many of you come alive during this season together. And this political moment in history, this horrifying moment, it doesn't need us to individually reinvent ourselves and become something that we're not. It just needs more of us to be who we are and apply those gifts and that beauty to the broken things in this world. And my greatest fear continues to be that too many people who see the crisis at hand are still trying to be somebody that they're not. The person that they're called to be is some kind of a holy riot of joy and hope. It's that person's still trapped inside of them. That person is in a prison that's not made out of walls or iron bars. It's made out of imagined judgments. The belief that everyone else can see the thing that we fear most about ourselves. A lot of us are still hiding ourselves because we're terrified of the judgments of others, even when these judgments may not exist. So psychologists have understood this phenomenon for decades, and it's referred to in the literature as our locus of control. And most of us, many of us, have transferred our locus of control out of ourselves and to an external source. And I believe that liberation begins the moment that we stop allowing an external locus of control to force us to hide our light. And that liberation is what's needed individually for each of us so that we can go out and be liberators out there. That's the work that gets done in here, and I hope that that's the work that we do in here on Sunday mornings. In 1980, two psychologists at Dartmouth College named Richard Kleck and Angelo Strenta set up an experiment to study what they called the social effects of facial disfigurement. Today, this 1980 study is just referred to as the Dartmouth Scar Experiment, and its findings were revolutionary. These two psychologists invited 20 college-aged women into a lab and told them that the study would measure how people responded to somebody with a visible facial scar. Each woman sat before a mirror while the researcher applied what looked like a dark, jagged mark down her cheek. It was a fake scar made of makeup. The participant saw her reflection and noticed the scar and braced herself for the world's reaction. But then, just before she went into the next room to meet a stranger and interact with that stranger, the researcher stopped them and said, let me touch up your makeup for just a moment. And during that touch-up, they quietly and quickly removed the scar completely. They wiped it away. So then the woman walked into a conversation with a stranger, believing that her face bore an ugly visible mark, even though the other person saw nothing at all. After the conversation, each of these participants reported some version of the same thing. During the conversation, the other person kept staring at my scar. They were acting differently and strange toward me. I think they must have felt sorry for me. But the truth is that there was no scar. The only thing that changed was what the young woman believed about how she was seen by the other people. This is the quiet prison. When we honestly believe that we're somehow marked, when we carry something ugly or unworthy, we will begin to start living as though the whole world already sees it. I chose these two stories that we just heard from the Gospel of John today because they focus on the character's locus of control, whether it's internal or external. So the entire Gospel of John has become very dear to me over the course of the last 4 or 5 years of my life. I began my spiritual journey in my early 20s as just a solid Gospel of Mark guy. That was my thing. Gospel of Mark, it's great. You can read it over your lunch break. It's very short. It's very direct. It's the earliest gospel we have, and it carries the imprint of the community that created it. It is a working class gospel. John was developed over the course of 3 or 4 generations after the Gospel of Mark. And the community that celebrated John's gospel would have read the Gospel of Mark, but probably the way that we would read books and stories from the 1940s. That was the distance. It was a story maybe written by their grandparents or their great-grandparents. John's gospel is mystical and strange and poetic and spiritual, and it's the gospel of queer liberation. And it's the gospel of cosmic communion and unity and oneness. And I have fallen very much in love with it. In John's gospel, prophet Jesus and his disciples discover a man who's born blind by the side of the road. And the disciples immediately begin the first of 2 pointless theological discussions. The disciples in the story ask the same kind of stupid, cruel questions that religions ask today. Who sinned? Was it this man or his parents that he was born blind? In other words, whose fault is this scar? And Jesus dismisses the entire premise. Nobody sins, he says. And then in a moment of transgressive intimacy, He kneels on the ground and he mixes dust with his own saliva, and he presses his hands to the man's eyes, and he sends him away to wash. And the man does, and when he comes back, he can see. And then what follows for the rest of the chapter is another just endless, interminable, pointless, cruel theological discourse about this impossible miracle, trying to make sense of it. All of chapter 9 of John's Gospel is about this. It's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. I didn't include the entire chapter, but instead of celebrating what's happened, the man's neighbors begin to argue with each other, and then the religious leaders get involved and begin interrogating everyone, and the man's own parents end up stepping back in fear. The community around this man and the authorities around this man can't handle his transformation. Because once he sees, they have lost control. They've lost control over their story of who he is. And in the end, the man simply responds when he's given a chance to. All I know is that I was blind and now I see. All I know is that I was blind and now I see. He doesn't need to explain his liberation. He just claims his truth. That moment when he claims his own lived experience, that is his moment of liberation. That's the moment when the locus of control over his life and his story moves inside of him. He's no longer defined by how other people see him or the stories they told about him, because he's now liberated. He's walking in his own truth. And then just a few chapters later after this story, we meet another person who understands the freedom of holding the reins to her own locus of control. Mary of Bethany. Mary of the Holy Family, of Mary, Martha, Lazarus, and Jesus, John's Holy Family. She comes to see Jesus at dinner. And this is at a very dark moment in the story. This is very close to the events that would follow just a week later. The moment that the story takes place, the authorities are plotting Jesus' assassination. The powers and principalities are aligning together against him. Now, whether he is going to be killed by the authority of the church or the authority of the state has yet to be determined. But the air in that room was thick with tension, and this embattled community of revolutionaries is gathering for dinner. Because despite everything that's going on out there, you still got to eat. And suddenly Mary of Bethany walks in and does something wild. She doesn't ask permission, and she doesn't check to see how she'll be perceived. She takes a jar of incredibly costly perfume, and kneeling, she breaks it open and pours it over Jesus' feet. The story says that the fragrance fills the entire house. And the crowd in that room, even in that room, does what crowds do. They judge. It doesn't even seem to matter that the people in the room are on the same team, confessing solidarity with each other. Mary's judged. Judas calls it wasteful, says that they could have spent that money on the poor. Others whisper about impropriety, a woman touching a man's feet this way at dinner, transgressing social boundaries, concerned with the eyes of others around her. And this is what courage looks like when somebody holds the locus of control inside themselves, when they stop caring about a watching crowd. Smell the fragrance of that perfume filling the air. None of us will ever be free as long as our sense of worth depends on whether others approve of us. Not our coworkers, not our family members, and Lord help me, not even our congregations. Because that crowd, their gaze is always shifting, always moving, and almost always unimagined and unreal. Freedom begins the moment we relocate the center of our lives inward and then begin to see ourselves as the Holy Communion sees us, radiant, beloved, already made whole. It takes extraordinary courage to believe that you're beautiful in a world that profits from your insecurity. To pour out your perfume freely like Mary did, even when other people mutter that it's wasteful or transgressive. It takes a liberated spirit to say, you can see me as you will, but I will live in my own light. Let me end this by saying something directly to us in this context. Fountain Street Church, you are an astonishingly beautiful and diverse assembly of souls. I've never seen a church like this in my life. This has been confirmed to me by others, by outsiders, in a dozen comments, like I get the one that I received the other day when I was on the podium. Comments from strangers who see your fierce creativity, compassion, and intelligence. You have a gentle urgency, somebody said to me the other day. I thought that was perfect. But many of the people, many of you, many of us today who find their way into this church know what it feels like to live in rooms where their spirit was not welcome. In your lives, growing up, maybe in other churches, in other communities, some of you were told that your questions were bad or dangerous. Your questions. Some of you were told that your love was wrong. Some of you were taught to distrust your own mind. Some of you were told to distrust your own bodies or your intuition about what the sacred is. These are invisible scars that we carry around with us, and they become the bars of our prison, and we've got to effect a prison break, because love is never freely given when it is trying to be safe. The most powerful prison in the world is the belief that other people are the authorities on who we are. In the moment that we stop asking the world for permission to exist, we can become astonishingly free. Liberation begins, I think, in the quiet moment when a person realizes that their life does not belong to the crowd, that they won't let others, the judgments of others, define them. And when you've done this, if you hand your freedom to a crowd that doesn't know your name, you are closing the door to that prison cell. That crowd cannot give you your dignity, and that crowd cannot take it away, because your dignity was never theirs to manage in the first place. Other people may witness your life, but they do not get editorial control over your story. The world spent a long time teaching a lot of us to hide the parts of ourselves that are strange and radiant. We don't need to apologize for our light. I'm not here to serve the crowd out there. I believe that I am called here to be your pastor, and that means seeing you as you are. And so my fear as your pastor is that too many are still hiding themselves. Maybe behind achievements, maybe behind kindness, behind competence, behind busyness. If it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, it's because I do the same. If we continue to walk through life as though we bear a visible scar, as though the thing that I fear most about myself is the first thing that everybody notices, I will be setting myself up for failure. I must move the locus of control to the place that it belongs, within the chambers of the temple of my own heart. Liberation isn't about image, it's about truth. None of us were meant to live in a prison in here. We were meant to walk free, to love boldly, to serve recklessly, and to live unguarded. Free in the knowledge that we're complete and sufficient and enough. There is no scar. There is no scar. We're not defined by what others say or see, and we're not defined by what we imagine they think of us. We're defined by a holy light that burns inside of us, the fragrance that fills the house, the hope we carry into the world. All of this is revolutionary. All of it is needed right now in the world. And all of it is ablaze in here, even in the hearts of this room. And so then may that light grow. May it become shalom, peace, because liberation spreads. It spreads wherever and whenever human beings dare to live openly, freely, and beautifully in front of one another. Church, may you have the courage to be seen, and may the freedom of that fragrance fill this entire house. Amen.
Good morning, Fountain Street. So our chosen anthem today is Lead with Love. This is a composition by Melanie Demore. And this song, Lead with Love, was written in answer to a call for a connection in troubled times. It is about persistence, community, and moving ahead. As one community, I invite you to sing with us the refrain of this song. And for us to do it, we have one of our scholars here, Issy, and she will sing for us the refrain. You actually have a copy in your bulletin, and you may follow along. So Issy will sing for us the entire refrain, and then we'll echo back, and then afterwards, we're going to sing the entire song. So Issy, please.
We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
So, this is what will happen. Issy will sing it twice, and then I'll bring the choir in, and you also. And in between the refrain, there will be verses, which will be sung by Issy, and then Claire.
We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot next to you. Right next to you. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. We gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. And lead with love. And lead with love. And lead with love.
In just a moment, I'm going to ask the ushers to come forward and receive any offering or gift that you have brought today to invest into the work of this church as it seeks to continue to build up radical hospitality, to be a home for creators and a home for the arts, a home for justice and for recovery, and for the important work that takes place here every single day of the week. And I've asked Natalie Beversleis to play for our offertory as well. And so at this time, I want to invite the ushers to come forward and thank you. dedicate these gifts and the work of our hands to the hope of our ancestors and the generations to come. So may it be. Let's join our voices together in singing our final hymn, Morning Has Broken, number 38. And now as we prepare to go forth into this world in need of our light, hope, and liberation, please join me in our responsive sending. The world will be saved by love. We go to love the world.